All right, looks like we've already got a few people here, and I'm going to try today to talk into the camera, but it's hard to do. It's a natural inclination to want to focus on the screen because I look at this computer a lot. So today we're going to be talking about programs, and look, this is going to be a long video, guys. So you might want to bookmark it because I understand a lot of people, 10, 15 minutes is a lot, and I get that. So you can come back and look at more of it later. We will be covering 136 different programs. I'm not going to cover them all in this video. We'll try. And this is a lot like having kind of the keys to the kingdom. If you had Harry Potter's spell book, this is pretty much the information the housing authorities would prefer you honestly didn't have. And these are more or less my X-Files. These are things that I've held on to for 6, in some cases 20 years. And so I'm slowly releasing the stuff to you guys and letting you learn and see the inside of how HUD and how housing authorities actually operate and the rules in which they play by and the rules in which they make you play by. So before we get really started into this, I promised I would bring my cats. Most of y'all know me as a person that loves cats. I save them. And so I brought the treat box, and we'll see if any of them come and respond. Looks like we don't have a taker yet. I'm hoping that Blue Eyes will come. Y'all know her as my Siamese. So I'm going to check and make sure we're still live. Yeah, we got 14 people here. So let's get this kicked off. So I'm going to paste a link into the section here. And look, guys, if y'all got comments, please hang on. Let me get warmed up before we jump right into the 1,000 questions. So I want y'all to follow along here with this link. And we're going to be talking specifically about major mortgage grant assistance and regulatory programs. The key point is here, we're going to be talking about those of you that want to own a home through HUD, and the regulatory programs we're going to be talking about will be some of them that y'all heard me speak about extensively in the last 200 videos, and a lot of them that you have not heard of. This is a shopping list. One, like I said, that most of these housing authorities would prefer you really didn't have. So now you have it. Now understand, just because you have all the doctor's manuals doesn't mean that you're going to be a surgeon. This is a great way to open up a dialogue with me or other professionals that are in my field and to help you with Section 8. It is not a definitive guide, okay? So this is 116 pages of pure glory, and I think you guys are going to learn a lot on your free time. So let's get started with some of the first pages. So you have about 7 pages just of table of context or table of contents and indexing. And a lot of this community block programs, ESG, federal surplus properties, homeless assistance programs, home investment in partnerships, home opportunities for people with AIDS, or better known as HOPA, housing trust funds, rural capacity building, and community development. Some of these will come in very useful if you're a landlord. Rural housing and stability assistance program. You have SHOP program, self-housing property disposition, and also for those seniors that still own a home that are looking for help with the mortgage or mortgage takeover. This covers part of that. And then we dive a little bit deeper into the housing administration, or FHA, single family housing programs, energy efficiency programs, good neighbor next door programs. And it just, I tell you what, it's every subsection that you've ever dreamed of. So I know a lot of you guys in principle like to talk about Section 811. I don't know how that became the most popular one. I guess that was the best paying one back in the 80s, but I hear about it more than anything. It's a subsection of obviously federal regulation and title. And there's a lot of those subsections out there, whether it be under tax code or federal regulation. And they're all connected in one way or another through different presidents over the last 40 years that issue funding to HUD, which HUD turns around and gives it to housing authorities. The housing authorities, in turn, print out vouchers, kind of like the U.S. prints out money. Unfortunately, there's never enough vouchers, and if there were, we would not have enough houses. So we're gonna, if you could, go ahead and follow me down to page 16. And, well, no, that's actually for a landlord. I was hoping to be in the video today. An architectural firm has hired me today to work with them on a very pretty fancy building. And so it's going to be going through development. I'm kind of excited about that. I had hoped to publish a little bit about that. As most of you know, I work with landlords that have properties that averaging anywhere from $1 million, sometimes up to 30 million. And I have a bunch of those, about 200 landlords across the U.S. that I work with. It's important, guys, you know that I'm not a 4OK or 4OK2 HUD consultant. That's a different deal. That's the type of consultant that comes on property and tells you about the aspects of when you're building and how to meet a specific code in regards to HUD policies and regulations. Okay, I handle the other end after the building's built, and people need to get in there, and landlords are struggling to make that connection between that and the housing authority. So I don't know how many landlords we have present today, but so that's what that is. So, you know, page 18, we talked about continual care. Most of you know that is the parallel program. In other words, it's the program that nobody talks about except for me, apparently, around the country. As all of y'all know, in Washington, D.C., that's where HUD is located. When they cut two different checks, one check goes to the housing authority in every county in America. The second check goes to nonprofits. And those nonprofits give their own version of a voucher. And it's just as legitimate as any Section 8 voucher. They call it rapid rehousing. They call it PSH housing, something you'd want to look up. And the nice difference between that type of housing voucher and the current ones at the housing authority is you can typically get those type of vouchers within 35 days. However, there are some incremental steps that you would have to meet, qualifications, one of them being homeless. However, I've spoke extensively as a letter of law or the rule of law or under federal law, where they consider homeless. And to be frank with you guys, if you don't have a lease and you don't have a mortgage and nobody can prove that you didn't put a key in a doorknob, I think that, it's you can pretty much say what you want. Look, you're already, as I've already preached plenty, it's a rigged system in many, many ways. It's an unfair system. So, what happens when you try to rig something that's already rigged? Well, you end up winning with that. That's why a lot of people hired me. I know how to navigate the bullshit, and that's what a lot of this is. In addition to not only this stuff changing every year and every president, and then we're stacking rules, start since the inception, essentially after Section 8, the housing authority, the projects and all that. Every new year, we're stacking new laws and new rules until it's put a stranglehold on the housing market for low-income people. And so only the corrupt can almost get the voucher. Only people connected with people that work at the housing authority, or those lucky enough to be missing one eyeball, two legs, one toe, a broken finger, plus senile equals, 38 points, plus you get to the top of the list. The rules become so convoluted in which one can receive a voucher that you would almost have to envelop certain preferences in order to get these vouchers. As I've always indicated to most of you guys, if you want to do exceptionally well on waiting list, you have to have a lot of preferences. And if the law says, hey, there are 9 things that we'll consider to put somebody at the top of the list, if you don't have those problems, then you damn well better create them, get them, or find a way to make sure you meet that responsibility. 99% of the actual housing authority applications are just a bunch of horseshit. It's really just stuff about name, address, whatever. Nothing that's going to improve your position on there. Now, we spoke, I think, in the last 2 videos about some of these preferences, including age, sometimes even race. They just included race again. I think that's an important element because we have a lot of classes of people of different colors that certainly have built-in biases in the system. It does not change that much. Any of y'all under the disillusion that the housing authority employees are all good Christian folks and aren't racist, aren't biased, and other things, you'd be crazy. We all know, if you're grown up, if you're a grown man or a grown woman, I think we all have arrived at the situation. We realize just how shitty people can be. And so those shitty people can also work at housing authorities, and they can definitely make things difficult. I deal with clients every day. They deal with housing authorities that have bad actors working there. Once the employee becomes, once an employee decides that you're a disruption to them, that you're a constant complainer, or you're asking for more than typically required for them to work, you actually make them earn their fucking paycheck, then they will pretty much flag you And then there's a systematic effort to disenfranchise you, your voucher. I even explained to one lady today, don't be surprised if they drive by and take pictures. You've got one too many plants on your patio, so we're going to have to put your ass out of here. You have to be careful with these people and housing authorities because it's not fair. It's a game, and you either play the game as a participant and you wait a lifetime, or you play the game better than the people that invented it. In order to do that, you're going to need this kind of information. You need to understand what Title 24 is. You need to understand what federal regulations. You need to understand and you need to understand inside the rules in which these people play. They're never going to tell you what those rules are. I am, okay? That's what I've been doing. These X-Files, I'm giving you their manuals. I'm telling you exactly how these people have to act. The reason they become such bad actors in some cases is because they realize that almost 99.999 people have no idea where these rules are, how to get them, how to read them, how to interpret them, and certainly not how to use them against these people. So they act with impunity in some of these housing authorities. Let me ask you a question, guys. When Biden got in, he elected Miss Fudge. She's an African-American woman, extremely intelligent, and she's been on a rampage suing housing authorities. So if you think for a minute, if HUD is out there, Miss Fudge is going after 10, 20, 50, 60 housing authorities, do you think those housing authorities are good Christian folks? And I'm bringing Christian into this as an element of, as a kind of a joke. I'm not saying that Christians are a joke. I'm just saying that you get the point that I'm saying. All these housing authorities wouldn't be sued and wouldn't be on the shit list of HUD if they were operating ethically, would they? So you see what you actually are. You see the game that you're playing. For those of you that speak up and confront these people, and some of you that have the intellect to actually get through the system and find some of the things that I've been talking about, which you encounter as roadblocks, because they're thinking, okay, well, she knows how to use Google. Now I'm gonna hammer her good, and we're gonna get rid of her. So, like I said, I'm not saying every housing authority operates with impunity, but it only takes one bad employee to turn your life into a nightmare. And I deal with nightmares every day. I see seniors that complain, and it was perfectly within their right, okay? Their right as an American to be within the housing, have housing, were entitled, worked all their life, paid their taxes. They've come on hard times, they're on limited income, they needed a voucher, and they fucked with the wrong housing employee at request one too many times to make a repair, and now they're on somebody's shit list of that office, and they end up in a bad position. Sadly, it happens all the time. So you're left in a position when you're dealing with consultants that have to go after the employee, which have to find ways to basically throw them under the bus, get them terminated, and then hopefully the housing authority gets corrected by the feds, which are the people that work within HUD itself. Those are federal employees, thus making them feds. Okay. So I wanted y'all to understand in a way what some of the shit that people go through, because I hear these stories every day. Okay. So moving on from Continual Care. So those are vouchers typically for the homeless. They can be, if you know how to persuade those, then you could potentially get those. They're not the best vouchers on the planet, but they pay 7% of the rent. PSH pays 100%. They're pretty tight with them. They act like they're gold bars, you know. It's always, as I've always said, people, if you've got a friend working for the housing authority, you know, they're inclined personally and quietly in their own offices to hand them out to Billy the Lawn Boy and whoever else in their extended family needs them. But when mere mortals need a voucher, you should expect that 20-year wait to get a voucher. If you don't think things like that don't go on, you guys are really separated from reality. I've told you for a long time, I've had many housing authority employees, both current and former, contact me and back up my story 100% on this, okay? I would say you've got a better chance dealing with housing authorities in major cities because they're under a tighter scope than they are in small towns. It's when the smaller the town, the worse sometimes it gets. Okay, let's move on to some different programs. I'm sure y'all are tired of hearing about that. So, okay, community planning and development. So that's going to be another one that's not applicable to y'all. And then we have some other ones, the McKinney-Vino Act and the Homeless Assistance Act, which have been around forever. Again, those are Section 8 moderate rehabilitation rooms, or SROs. Those of you that live in Los Angeles, New York, Chicago know what SRO, single room occupancy. That's for big cities where it's just the rent's impossible. They give you a room with a sink, possibly even a bathroom. But for most of you, this is not applicable. And let's get on down to the next one. Then we have home investment partnerships. That's something you guys want to take a look at. Oh goodness, this thing is so long. So we spoke about HOPWA, HOPWA. If any of you or your family members or neighbors or you know somebody that's suffering from HIV or AIDS, this would be an excellent program for them. It's not utilized as much as I'd like to see around this nation, but it's certainly there to help you a great deal financially. Okay. Then you have Housing Trust Fund. That's another one some of you seniors should look at. I'm trying to find some of the better programs here, but unfortunately I'm having to roll through a lot of pages. So I'll tell you what, guys, we're going to pause right there and try to answer some questions because I know these are probably building up. All right, so let's take a look. Okay. Ironstone. I'm on SSI. And by the way, I'm reading comments I'm going to reply to. I'm on SSI. I have a very limited income. I'm trying to find housing. I'm not sure what to do. I have a 3-year-old daughter. Okay, so, you know, when you're on a fixed income, the best way to handle that situation, I think it's pretty obvious with the housing choice voucher. I think that you also have options in the subsidized market. So there's tenant-based housing when a landlord owns the building. You can apply it that way on a fixed income. You also have the option of applying through the housing authority. The smaller the state and the smaller the least states with the least population tend to have very short waiting times for waiting lists, 8 months, 3 years. And that's if you don't really have any preferences at all. So that happens pretty quick. So there's a couple of options there, Stone. My advice there is if you really don't know what you're doing and you don't know a good set of answers to give, and a lot of you guys failed miserably with these applications. I've told you all that many times. I had, like I said, about a week ago, I had a highly educated woman. We went over everything, and she filled out the application, sent it back to me. And guess what? Everything that actually mattered that would have actually propelled her at a higher position, probably on the waiting list, she answered them all wrong because the questions were asked in a specific way. Some of these housing applications, and I'm going to warn you guys, they're like college questions. They ask in a very clever and tricky way. And so you tend to answer those questions, oh, well, I don't think that applies to me, so no. And they're designed to do that. They really do kind of play with you mentally. Some of the questions are asked in such a way that would shame you. And a lot of you have a great deal of pride, and I understand that. And it works on your pride. So you say, oh, no, I'm not going to answer that, or that couldn't possibly be me. What you didn't realize is when you didn't answer yes to that question, you just added about 6 years to your waiting list because of that. So if you don't understand the games that are being played, even in the application process, get a consultant, man, because you're talking about years of your life you're fixing to throw out the window because A, it was cleverly worded, B, it was asked in such a way that it affected humility. So, you know, I talked to another gentleman, I think today about it. He answered a lot of good questions, and a few of them he failed pretty miserably on. So, moving on from that, Larry, my son is going to college next year in California. I need a 2-bedroom. I have a Section 8 voucher. Do you have rentals in LA County? Man, I've got more landlords in California than I can throw a stick at, to be honest with you, or a rock. I've got landlords, San Diego. The thing is, I don't have any currently in Los Angeles. Properties there are expensive, and the thing about it is, the housing authority for Los Angeles County, Orange County, they don't pay enough rent out per unit for somebody to want to invest $2 million in a building that would only give them 20 to 25 units. It would take them a lifetime to pay off the cost of the building. So that's the problem. So my advice there is, Larry, if you got a voucher, the wiser move would be to port that voucher just outside the county line. You would probably have a better life and a better situation. However, I understand the traveling and negotiating, dealing with Los Angeles can be a big deal. My advice there is get in touch with me. Maybe we could find a solution to that. Certainly, besides New York, I deal with LA almost extensively. Besides that, I think we have a couple of big landlords out in San Diego, Riverside, and Kern County. Okay, so those are the current ones. And then, of course, I'm dealing with an architectural firm now, but that won't come to fruition until about a year. Next up, Christina Let's just say Christina, because I always get the last name wrong. I filled out all the paperwork. I did have $8K in the bank at the time. Did that automatically run my chance? Nope. But you know, let me tell you something about the housing authority. When they go to check that bank, they call you back. Hey, you know what? Your ticket's up. We're going to give you a voucher. You better damn well make sure you bring that $8K down to a couple of hundred. So you better do just like they did in the old days. Put your cash under your mattress. If they see you sitting on a stack of money like that, they're not going to give you anything. Okay. Now, I don't know if you reported it or not, but now is the time to move things around, even put the money in the trust. What do you think the little old ladies do all around the country when they want to go to Florida? They put their money in a trust that allocates a certain amount. It's a loophole. So they put it in a blind trust, and they allocate it to themselves, kind of like Social Security payments. That way they remain low income, when in reality there's a ton of money in the actual trust itself. But because the way trusts are designed, it would allow you to actually be fairly wealthy and still be a Section 8 voucher holder. And one of those tight loopholes is actually in Florida. Moving on, I keep calling the caseworker, but she never answers the phone. Christina, I got to tell you something, man. When it comes to social workers and caseworkers, you can imagine, just like Hollywood videos, they probably have a stack of 500 cases. And once they make a rotation, it's whether or not they come back to your case. And the more times you call them, the more you annoy them, the farther they'll move you down that list. Some of them do have the ability to actually change your position on that. I would say that in the middle of a pandemic, at the beginning of a year, in the middle of a housing crisis, and within 30 days, around 11 to 12 million people being evicted, the sole reason she's not calling you back is because she probably has 9,483 emails and probably about 10,000 other people that have attempted to call. She's just overworked. That's probably what it comes down to. The best way, Christina, to address that issue is literally put $5 in gas, drive down there, beat on the door, because right now it's really hard for even people that work in the housing authority. Sonia, thank you. Now, guess what? Somebody's going to call right now. Got a call from Louisiana, my home state. So, Sonia, I want to tell you, thanks for seeing that she's a regular of ours, Miss Grindstaff. And so this is the problem when I do consults. People have my phone number and then they just call whenever they want. It almost becomes like a hotline. I should maybe charge $3 a minute for this, because people call me at 3 in the morning, and I know damn well they're calling me from a bar, and it's not cool. Anyways, keeping it real, folks. So, anyway, Sonia, good to see you in the channel. She's been a strong supporter of mine, like many of you have. I would say a good 30% of the people that have been members of my channel, just people that have joined and stay and come, are actual people that I've worked with, and I've got a pretty decent success rate with most of my clients, enough to where they keep coming back. Larry, I see smiley faces. Thank you. Ironstone, I have a head injury and half of my body doesn't work. The right half. Sounds like you had a stroke, Ironstone. And so that would give you mobility issues, and in principle would be actually a really good, it would be, for that, we would have ADA compliance, possibly Section 811 on that. Could potentially see 100% pay or rent on that. However, I'm not making any personal guarantees to people. It really is determined by the housing authority and how the preferences stack up for you. I'm sorry to hear that happened to you. To be frank with you, Mr. Stone, I've got people that have heart attacks. I've got seniors that are no longer mobile, that are rotting in nursing homes and other crazy things. I've got people with no legs. I've got blind people that can't get vouchers. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got extreme cases. And I do, honestly, am highly empathetic to that. Some of the stories I hear are so devastating. You would probably could only survive doing what I do if you had a drinking problem. And I don't drink, but I'm just saying that every day is a mixed bag of sadness sometimes. Thankfully, today was a pretty decent one. Sugar Baby Face, I'm 60. I'm on Social Security disability. So that's 2 points for you. It's going to get a lot better for you, Sugar Baby. The minute you blow up that candle at 62, we need to talk, because that's when it gets real good for you. Also live in a major city, but I want to relocate. I would prefer to purchase a home. So I know a lot of you guys are been hammering me about the housing. I'm willing to talk about these programs, but understand I am not a licensed real estate agent. And so thus I have to be careful about the things that I'm telling you, I can tell you verbatim these programs and how they are, but ultimately you guys have got to get with real estate agents about it. The interesting thing about it is a lot of real estate agents and brokers contact me to get information. So it's a maddening loop because I don't have a license to do that. So I will put the menu of all the available information on probably next video. We'll talk about it, but I will not give advice or violate federal state law. Okay. So y'all should look forward to that. I've been like this since I was 8 years old. I'm sorry to hear that, Mr. Stone. Christina Rouse, I have spent on housing things go down to 6K. Okay, well, you have to keep bringing that number down or just save your money and hide it. Look, the housing authorities are always going to check your bank accounts when you try to get vouchers. So it looks like we got 23 people here, and we're going to go back a little bit. We're going to talk about some of these programs. As I said at the beginning of the video, it's going to be long, 45 minutes, hour and a half. We're going to talk about 138 different programs, and I put a link in there. I'm going to add that link again. For those of you that want to follow along, just bookmark the video, guys. Sitting around watching a video for an hour and a half, I'm not Netflix. I'm not a teenager willing to set my hair on fire. So I don't think a lot of you want to sit here and watch this for an hour. You can come back and just replay the video when you want to come to that. I'm going to sip of coffee. All right. So as you can see there, that this HUD-Gov file here is going to cover all these different programs. It's a shopping list, really. But I would suggest that mostly it's light. It's not going to go in deep, great depth, but it's enough for you to get ideas about which one of these programs would be helpful to you. If you don't understand the process, don't know how to get through it thoroughly, and understand the true playbook behind all these programs, that's a great way. That's a great time to contact me. Now, I don't think I need any introduction. Most people know that I do consulting. My links are all over the website. It's posted at the top of this chat window. So if you really do need help with housing and vouchers, I don't give generic advice. I mean, I either provide you with the manuals, help you with some of the process to help you potentially get higher on waiting lists and play some of the unusual games we have to play in order to get these vouchers, or I don't, okay? If you want tips and tricks and stuff like that, there are plenty of YouTube creators that do that. I don't get involved in bullshit, okay? So I either produce results or I don't. It comes down to that. These other guys selling books and telling you to go down to the housing authority with pop and soda and pizza, that kind of horseshit, I don't get involved in that. Okay. So if you're looking for a professional, that's what I do. I will give you their operations manuals, their data manuals. I'll give you everything that they train their people with. Okay. That's the kind of game that I roll with. I do not come out here and we're going to talk about 5 steps to getting housing fast. Now, you know that's a bunch of bullshit. Do you know anybody that's ever got a voucher in 5 steps? So you've got a rodeo clown that makes a 5-minute video, and they're going to fix your life. And now next week, they're going to be making videos. They're going to be an expert about fidget spinners and pantyhose next week, okay? These are the kind of people making videos on YouTube. They don't know anything. Okay, sorry. So I went on a tear. I don't, Carol Monroe, I don't make 3 times the rent here in Florida. Well, that's applicable only on subsidized. When you get a voucher, we should address that through private landlords. And I have a recommendation on that. Affordable housing online, I would definitely check that out. If you're 54, well, you know, it gets sweet for you guys. The entry age for better vouchers and better properties is going to be 55. Guys, when you blow your candle out at 55, that's the great time to contact me, because it's a lot easier. 55 and 62 are the absolute best times. So if you're over 55, we're good. If you're over 62, it's really good. Those of you that are, if you're a veteran, if you're American Indian, Samoan, African American, there's other things, there are other programs we can pull into. There's a lot of different things you guys don't know about. Anyways, Kenyan, let's see, check your state rules, but I believe you can apply for senior housing. So you're talking about 504 and 202. So guys, when you get a chance, type into Google section 202, section 504. That's going to be just 2 of the more than probably 150 subsections. So that way you understand a little bit about it. And, you know, it's not going to be a menu as when you go to a housing authority. They're not simply going to pull out a plastic menu. Would you like to do a 202 or a section 811? your application and the things you write on there, and they look at that, and then they go into their computer and their database, and based on your answers, if they have funding from 202, 504, 811, and so on, then they'll attach that funding to your voucher, and then that's how things would go. You guys still are struggling with the concept of how these vouchers work and where the money is coming from in the different programs, and there's a lot of them. Okay, so let's see. I'm over Dawn Robin. Hey, Miss Robin, welcome back. I'm over 55. I'm regular Section 8 housing. It's crap, but I deal with it so much better than being on the street. You know what, Dawn? That's an honest answer. Yes, that is correct. Depending on where you get your housing. So we all know the whole game is project-based housing. For those of you that are suckers that got sucked into that, it means the housing authority owns the building, and they're the jailer, and you're the person living there, and along with the other people that are prostitutes, whores, drug addicts, and everything else. I'm not suggesting everybody in project housing is that, but if you get one of those properties that's run by the housing authority, you really are living in a jail, and they are the jailer. And between gunshots and crack, it doesn't get easier. Okay, guys, if you got project-based housing, then it's time to contact me. We need to convert you over to HCB and get you the hell out of there. I don't care what color or what age that you are. Nobody deserves to live like trash. If those people in the housing, in project-based housing, if they want to do prostitution, if they want to do drugs and all that, that's their business. Let them live there. If you are an ordinary citizen or you're recovered from those things and you want a better life, then let's get you the fuck out of there. That's what I'm going to tell you. Let's just do that. A lot of you guys feel that, okay, I'm just so lucky that I even got the project-based housing. I'm not, I shouldn't push the envelope with this. You're wrong. If you complete a 12-month lease, it's time to get you up and out of there. You guys have got to step out of the wild rodeo. Nobody deserves to be living like trash, especially you young and older folks. I've got young folks, man, that put in project-based housing don't deserve to live that way. Not even a dog does. Now, I'm not suggesting that every housing project's that evil, but I've got to tell you, damn well, half of the nation's like that. Moving on from that. So, and you know what? Anybody out there in project-based housing that's listening to me right now, if you live in project-based housing, tell these folks what it's really like. To be held hostage, to not be able to leave your home until sunlight, to only be able, you're scared of everybody. When you walk between two buildings, you don't know if you're going to get shot, stabbed, or robbed. People think that's a joke. It is. It is a damn jail. So that's what I'd like to do is get a lot of you folks out of there. Okay, so moving on from that, they have tenant-based housing. So that's when we can address senior housing 55 plus for subsidized, and those are better properties. The older folks, some of the properties that accept 504, 202, where you have older people there, there's a less of a propensity. Also, it's not project-based housing. It's what they call tenant-based housing. In other words, you don't receive a physical voucher or a record of a voucher. Instead, the funding or the voucher itself is attached to the unit. So if you live in Unit A1, if you decide to move, you can't port it. When you leave the unit, you leave the funding behind, and that unit is permanently going to go to somebody else. Okay. Erica, hi. I applied for housing the first day. App open. I completed my application within 2 minutes. I noticed the time of my actual application information in my email is different from the timestamp on the housing portal. Okay, well that could just be a technical issue. Guys, let me give you some advice about these portals. You have server time, and then you have your time. Most of these housing authorities have a small database, so they have servers, and so the server time may reflect differently than what you're actually seeing. I wouldn't worry about that as long as you were applying at the actual legitimate website. Then you're fine in that respect. Also, guys, whenever a housing authority opens up, and they tell you, all right, Tuesday at 9. The waiting list will be open. What most of you guys don't realize is they actually open waiting lists at server time at midnight. So you guys are sitting there patiently waiting till 9 in the morning for that to open up, when in fact it's been open from midnight. Look, guys, you got to think from a technical standpoint. When the IT department works inside the housing authority, they set that stuff in principle to be live at midnight server time. So you don't need to wait till 9 in the morning, whatever day they're telling you to show up. Okay, you'll be late to the party. Now, I'm not saying that every housing authority issues it at midnight, but I would be up having coffee at 11:30 and making sure that their IT department doesn't open portals at that time. Carol Monroe, it's not a joke. My daughter lives in the project-based housing. I agree with you, Ms. Monroe. I agree with all of you. And one thing that I have extensively worked with you guys with is to convert that housing-based vouchers over to normal vouchers. And a lot of you guys, I'm porting you across the nation to better places, okay? Nobody, let me tell you something, nothing ever gets better with that. You might think, when you first get it, you think, I am so happy just to have a home. And then after about 3 to 6 months of living in there, and your life is constantly in jeopardy, you're constantly in fear of what's going to happen. And then you add that, you stack that with just the way that you're being treated. And I'm going to tell you, it's not very good. Then, you realize what you think is a blessing is a nightmare. And I'm having to rescue a lot of you guys out of that situation. Sadly, some of you they're throwing y'all in that, and you think you're taking the first offer they give you, and it's bad. Rena Hall, I live with my mom. She has Section 8. Is it possible that I can get one of my own? Well, Rena, we need to look at a lot of criteria that you must first meet. You need to be low income, and then there's preferences. So do you have mental problems? Do you have physical problems? Or are you 55 and older? Or are you 62 and older? So there's a bunch of questions there. My advice, Rena, is if you look at it throughout my channel and also this chat, you'll see that I offer consulting. I own section8consulting.com. It actually ranks higher than some of the HUD websites. But anyways, for a nominal amount, I work with people by phone, and we usually work through it. So I would need to first determine what criteria, if any, that you meet, where you are from the country, and then we can figure it out. In most cases, if you're low income, yes, you can probably get it, but whether or not you would get the voucher in a reasonable amount of time or 20 years is strictly up to your situation personally. And the rules change every single county. There are 5,400 counties. And so it's an impossibility or a crystal ball reading for me to be able to answer that extensively as to whether or not you would get one. So yes, let's, now that the questions have slowed down, let's jump back in here. We're on page 29, 116. And again, guys, I posted links about this. This is the shopping list. This is what you should be using and basing your time thinking about programs. A lot of you guys have got to start thinking in terms of home ownership. And we're going to talk about that a lot, okay, the next video. If your county does offer that through the housing authority, then you need to start focusing on it. Look, all I can do is wet your whistle when it comes to that. I can get you motivated to start thinking, to get you research, give you the information out there, but because I'm not a licensed real estate agent, I cannot give you advice. All I can do is consult with you, help set you up with it, and then once we have enough information, send you back into the real estate agent, and then you start working with this. Look, guys, a lot of these programs are zero down, no payments for a couple of years, and they work with you. They just roll out another program through HUD, and if you're African American or you're a minority race, there are new programs that are coming into play, and if it means sitting there for a year and putting in an extra $20, $50 from your Social Security payment, tucking away, and then moving into home ownership, then that's what you guys should be doing. At some point, you have to give up this dream of you're going to spend the rest of your life in some hood project. Nobody wants that. So, I think that as a person that talks to you guys for so long, I'm going to start speaking more and more about home ownership. And I don't care about your credit scores. Look, guys, a lot of these programs that are a lot of these programs do take low credit scores, okay? And they also accept people with very low income. That's the whole point. Why would HUD offer this? Why would HUD even bother an opportunity for you guys to own a home if they didn't realize a low-income person has shitty credit and has a bad job or no job? You see my point? Why would they offer it? So you guys are mentally defeating yourself believing that you couldn't own a home. Now, here's where it gets tough for a lot of you guys. No, they're not going to give you a palace, okay? If you get a small condo out of the deal, or you can afford a small, tiny home, not a tiny home, not a storage shed, but a small, modest, maybe 1,000 square feet, take it. At least you own it. At least you own it. So I see that that's really where I need to be pushing a lot of you guys. We need to start talking about how to get you guys past the voucher and into home ownership. And I may start consulting with a few brokers I know and see what I can legally apprise you guys of, because I think it's so important for y'all right now is to get a piece of the American dream and do it in a reasonable way. If you don't even know what the hell programs are out there, then how does HUD and the Housing Authority expect you to do it? The problem is they're not going to, you think the Housing Authority is going to post a list? Do you think they're going to do you think they're going to throw a party with balloons and put a hot dogs and cookies and teach y'all about this shit? No. They'd rather keep you 1 inch from broke and barefooted and as stupid as possible. That way you can stay in the system. Isn't that what this is? It's a game that affords you a system ticket. You're a ticket to a nightmare. Here's your voucher to hell. Let's keep you renting. Let's keep you below the mark. And let's keep it that way for as long as we can. You know what? These housing authorities are county run. You don't think they don't make money for every voucher they do? It's as simple. It's just like feeding inmates. For $43 a day, you keep an inmate. What do you think the housing authority gets? So we got to get you guys out of the system. First, we got to get you out the hood. Then we got to get you out of project-based housing if you're there. And then we got to start educating you guys on using the grants and programs that are designed for people with horrific credit, with criminal histories and other things, so we can get you in a home, okay? So I'm going to have to start preaching that because I'm sick of seeing you guys living in broom closets in New York. Y'all renting broom closets for $1,500. Pack your shit. Let's move you to a different state where you can buy a home. Not every state a house costs 500 square feet home costs $1 million. A lot of you guys are just suffering for no apparent reason, okay? Anyways, we're going to move on to page 28, Rural Housing Stability Assistance Program. Sometimes moving out to the country outside the county limits, there are lots of excellent programs, including USDA loans out there, and those come paired with grants that don't need to be repaid. And so you don't need Habitat for Humanity bullshit where you got to pick up nails and a hammer and go through all the crazy shit they want to give you a free house that you don't even really own. So you don't need to go out for Habitat. Now, I'm beating it up a little bit because they expect too much. Habitat, let's just get into that for a minute. Habitat for Humanity. So when the fuck does that ever help anybody in a wheelchair? When does that exactly help anybody that's a senior? Do you think somebody that's 60, that's 68 or 92 is going to get out there and fucking build half the house? So what's the fucking point of giving Habitat for, it should be called Habitat for the Healthy. Okay? That annoys me. If you're going to help people, fucking help them. Don't just sit there and make a bunch of crazy ass fucking rules. Oh, you need to work 40 hours, come out here. We're going to need you to bang 5,000 nails and all this other crazy shit. Look, half the people I deal with are so disabled. How would they ever be able to do it? So to me, it's just another bullshit program sucking up federal dollars. Now, if you've been successful with it, good luck with that. But I'm going to be honest with you. That's just a bunch of bullshit in my opinion. So there's better ways to do this stuff than playing these kind of games. I don't have time to play games. So, yeah, that really gets me angry. Now, if you can benefit, if you're perfectly healthy with a 900 credit score, by all means, go down and get you a Habitat for Humanity. They'll write you out one of the most horrific 10-year contract. The minute you fart the wrong flavor, they're going to want you out, and you're going to sell it back to them at a premium. So what's the fucking point? You know what I'm saying? What's the point? Now, moving on, Rural Housing Program Assistance. So you want to take a look at that. It's going to be in a Public Law 111-22, subsection Division B, and you're going to want to look at the McKinney-Vino Act on that, and so they give assistance with that. There's lots of assistance. There's mortgage assistance. There's rental assistance. If you need a new air conditioning, I mean, there's all kinds of repairs and different things that can be done, and that does benefit landlords as well. So I'm on a tear today, guys, but you know what, guys? It'd be better for me to be real with y'all than for me to get dressed up like a clown, and then I'm going to look like somebody from the nightly news. This is about as fake as the paper that he's reading from. You guys have got to need to hear the truth. You don't need an actor that's acting, okay? You don't need actors. We have enough actors on YouTube. You need people to tell you the truth. This is a serious deal for most of you guys. It's your home. Who the hell wants to sit there and listen to somebody that's dressed, got the hair done up there in a $2,000 suit and going to talk shit on the video? Who wants to hear that? What good's that going to do you? You know that person's never in their life walked into a housing authority, but today they found it suitable to make a video about it. So anyways, moving on. Self-help housing prospect, the self-help housing property disposition. So we have basically a surplus of federal properties available through sale for less than fair market value. This is how you get a hot deal. These houses are intentionally blocked from those real estate agents that love to go down there and bid up everything. So what it does is it hides, it blocks these people from brokers and real estate agents from going in and sucking up all these cheap profits. What it does. So these are allocation of federal properties that would give you a fair shot and a chance to compete with other people who are just as broke to be able to get one of these properties and make it a home. You see, they're leveling the playing field. But how would you ever know that? Because how would you ever know these things are there? Why? Because it's stacked under Google, and nobody's even bothered to try to tell you about any of these things. Most of you hopped on here today, and you've never heard of any of this shit. You've been alive, 60 years, and today's the first time you heard about it. That's the job. You can thank the government for that you don't even know what the hell's happening and what programs are available. So we're going to make them available today. So we're going to talk about Federal Housing Administration, FHA, single-family home programs, including energy efficiency. Now, most of y'all know about that. You've applied for that, discounts against rent. And then we have the Good Neighbor Next Door program, provides, here's going. Here's what's interesting. The Good Neighbor Next Door program is supposed to be for the people that are broke. Listen who's for. Now, I get this. It's for officers, teachers, firefighters, and medical technicians. Anybody that makes 30 to 40 an hour can get a fucking discount. Isn't that a nice deal? Now, I could see that being for the teachers. Why would we need somebody that makes that kind of money in this program? I think we should make this available to teachers because they don't make that much money. I don't know that emergency technicians that are probably making $30 an hour need this. However, I do see that in some ways it could be a good program, but how many firefighters and cops do you know that want to live in the hood? So I think the program is a little bit counterintuitive, but I thought I should just bring it up in case those of you that have a member of a family that is a kindergarten teacher, grade school, or high school, this is something they would want to look into, okay? We have Home Equity Conversation Mortgage, HEMC, Section 255. Now, I know we've been talking about 404, and we're rolling through all these sections. Reverse mortgage to provide a financial alternative for qualified elderly home owners or programs. So for those of you that are elderly still home, you do a reverse. Let me tell you something. HECM is the only way you want to do it. Anytime you get on Google and you do a reverse mortgage, you get loan sharks. At least when you deal with the government, they're honest about when they fuck you, okay? So at least you get an honest fucking with them through the government. If you get on Google and you call a normal broker, you're going to get it back, okay? And let me tell you something. There's nothing wrong with reverse. And to be frank with you, when I do get old, I'm going to reverse and get rid of everything, okay? All my assets. There's a lot of homeless people. And I mean, I'm not giving that money down to the shelter that's going to go buy new chandeliers and buy the executive of that shelter new $400 wingtip shoes. That money is going to go directly to the homeless because I'm not going to leave this world and just bequeath it to just anybody. You know, there are people that need this money. And so I would prefer that all my assets be liquidated on death and given to people that genuinely need it, not to social charities that are going to buy the latest leather couch and then give all the rags to the homeless, because that's really how shelters work. They give all the bullshit to the homeless and then they sell anything of value. That's why the homeless always look homeless, because they never actually get anything they'll give. Anyways, so yeah, I'm on a little bit of a tear tonight, and I'm probably going to get a penalty from YouTube. Not a bad one, probably for the language, but that's all right. So we can talk about ARM, which is Section 251. So under this HUD-insured mortgage, interest rate and monthly payment may change during lifetime loans. And so for those of you that are struggling, that own a small home, you can get adjustable rates that'll, hold up all the way till you're 110. And then we'll move on. And like I said, I'm not going to get deep in these because I'm not allowed to do that, right? Especially for some of these programs that are talking about mortgages, because I'm not a banker. So you have Section 247. That's another interesting one. So you have mortgage insurance provides opportunities to low to moderate income Native Hawaiians. So I told you, you guys that are Samoan and live in Hawaii, you've got additional mortgage options. And they're so good that pretty much if you were a homeless person rolling around in a ditch with no clothes, they'd likely give you a mortgage. Okay, some people just get it good, but I can understand why. We did run a little. Didn't we just kill half the Indians to run the country back in the old days? I think we might chip in to give them something back for what we did. Anyways, so we have loss mitigation. That's not one that's going to be a good one for y'all. I'm going to move on to some questions now because now some of these subsections here are getting pretty serious, and I think I can read. Let's move on here. Questions, Gene D. Can you tell me how lotteries go? On the general, I'm 35, and it says here, lotteries work in a way that most of you would not imagine. So you think of a lottery, okay? You go buy a lottery ticket. So we're not talking about lottery tickets. I'm just going to compare it to lottery tickets. It's like a lottery with a lot of little lotteries. A lot of you guys think it's just a fair chance. Okay, I enter a number. I pay my dollar and, I get in the lottery. No, it doesn't really work that way. What happens is you've got 30% of the lottery that are going to be people that have preferences like I'm disabled, I'm old, and so on. And that'll be a tiny lottery. And you know where that tiny lottery goes in the big one? It goes straight to the top. And then the rigged lottery is going to be all of you that are just simply low income, feel entitled to a discount, and want to get housed fairly, right? Well, you get to go in that big chunk, which is a small lottery. It's a big lottery, and then that big lottery will be shot to the bottom. So you have little lotteries rolling around. The more preferences you have, you're going to be in one of the smaller lotteries that'll be at the very top. And for those of you that are simply low income, you'll be in a much bigger lottery. So it's a lottery within a lottery. And that's why it's such a scam in my mind, because you guys are spinning in the big lottery. You're not going anywhere. And every time a new person enters in for that lottery, so you're at 10,011. Okay, that's your number. 15 more people will choose to enter. And guess what? They've got better preferences than you. So what does your little number do? You were at 10,011. Now you're at 10,400. You just went farther down. Each day that passes, guess what happens to you in that little lottery? You just keep spinning your ass straight to nowhere. Okay? And that's how some of those lotteries work. I will publish some of the research they did for these lotteries and how they actually function. And you'll see, okay, that it doesn't work. A lot of you guys, and here's the funny, interesting about lotteries. They only say lottery. So what's the truth? That is a lottery, right? Well, it's just like a courtroom. It's the truth, but it's not the whole truth. What they didn't tell you is there's a 538-page manual that prescribes exactly how that lottery works. And so they're depending on you to think of it, okay, it's just like a lotto. How can you buy a lotto ticket? No, it's not. So no, it's not a fair lottery. And for you guys that went on Google and went in there and you did one of those applications at one of these properties that say they're low income and affordable, if they're not part of that list program, then it's their own private lottery. That's when you have an owner and his wife own the building. They're pretending to be a low-income property. And what do? They take all your names, they put it in a fishbowl, and they're giggling over wine, and they're looking for the one asshole that's got a 900 credit score with a really good job. Everybody else, little ticket, in their little fake lottery, that all goes in the trash. Look, for those fake landlords that do that, that's a scam and a hustle. It's easier for them to accept $50 so people rolling in all day long. I'd like to get that. You pay $50, right? So that one empty unit is a cash generating machine. Do you see why they might not want to ever rent that unit? So that all day long they're going to put on their front door and on the Google, the newspaper, we're affordable, we're low income, come on down and give us $50. They're never going to call you. That's a joke. That's a complete joke. And so every day, 5 people roll in. 5 times 50 is what? So they're having steak and wine every day, and you just got involved in a beautiful scam, and lots of landlords do that, okay? They are not in any way affiliated, tied to the housing authority. They're not lich properties. They have no federal tax credits, and you guys are steadily cutting checks to them. Oh, I'd like to apply. Can I give you $50? Greatest scam that ever rolled around, and nobody's talking about it. Look, guys, if you don't know where and what landlords are legitimate and where to go, then you damn well better check with HUD or with somebody that knows like me, because otherwise you guys are cutting checks and paying application fees to nowhere. These people never had any intention of leasing you anything. All right, moving on from there. Tiny homes do qualify, and a good thing that you bring that up is because that 5 years ago I would say tiny homes didn't. They also accept trailers for those of you in Florida, California. So if it's got wheels, it'll work, but they're not going to take your RV, obviously. Lady Leo, I'm 58, Social Security, technically homeless, attached letter from a housing program, verified homeless. Okay, so Lady Leo, that is one applicable reason to give you housing. Number two, you're over 55, but you're going to need more than that, okay? You're definitely going to need more. Otherwise, they're just going to give you rapid rehousing, and you're not going to like that because it's like a rent payment every month, and then eventually they quit paying. So my advice there, Lady Leo, is make sure you understand the whole, it's called Continuum of Care, COC, coordinated entry, many different names. Every city gives it a weird name. It makes it hard for you guys to figure out what it is or even how to look it up. That's how all this stuff works. If we give it a weird enough name, then how the hell can anybody Google it or learn anything further? That's a lot of this. Do you know, 20 years ago when I was fooling with this, I didn't know a lot of the names. I had to go through hours and hours of research. And I finally figured out the reason nobody knows anything, why it's not out there, is because they convoluted so badly with the names of the programs that no normal person could ever find out about half the stuff that's going on. So I'm steadily publishing lists and trying to help you guys, inform you and figure it out. It's like walking in the housing authority. It's the first time in 28 years they ever heard the word Section 811. What's that? Everybody's looking at you. How the hell did that woman know that? Shh, cut off all the lights. She knows there's a Section 811. That's how a lot of these housing authorities have been operating. Okay? They operate on the fact that you don't know anything, you don't understand your rights, and you certainly don't know how to get that application in the right way. Moving on. In Florida, every apartment has a waiting list. When you apply, you have to pay $200, of course. And so what people in Florida have really figured out with the applications is it's easier to own an empty building and charge that amount. And so as long as they keep the federal requirement of only leasing 15% of the property, then they've just created the best cash machine ever seen to date. And that's to simply just let everybody pay $200 and never lease anything. My advice, Carol, is that first we establish whether or not we need to get you on a list where you can view actual real subsidized properties, because that's illegal to charge $200. That tells you right there you're probably looking at the worst places. That has to be regulated under federal regulation at $200. That's strictly a scam. I mean, straight up scam. There's probably no affiliation whatsoever with HUD. So what they're saying is you pay $200, it's a bribe, and they may or may not even give you the unit. And so I'm truly concerned with people paying that amount. That needs to be addressed. Ms. Monroe, hey, can you talk about rapid rehousing? Rapid rehousing, guys, that's when the Continuum of Care or the BOSS system, that's when they tell you, okay, well, we'll pay your rent, $100. So if your rent's $1,000, we're going to give you a voucher. It's going to be for $1,000. You go get your apartment, and here's $1,000. And then let's say that's January. February, they pay $1,000. March, they pay $1,000. Then they tell you, you know what? We'd like for you to go on and get yourself straightened out. Now, here, January, February, March, April, we're only going to pay $900, and the following month we're going to pay $800. Then the payments start to disintegrate. And what you end up with rapid rehousing is for people that don't have disabilities and Social Security payments. Okay. Because eventually the payments just evaporate and they quit paying anything. So rapid rehousing is something for people that have been thrown off by the pandemic, that need assistance for anywhere from a month to 2 years, and that's it. And then it's really, that program only works really well if they have the funding. Are they tax credit properties? Well, to be frank with you, any landlord, including my grandma, I get a lot of elderly people that contact me that own homes that want to lease out places to you guys. I just spoke with a lady. She must have been about 70 or 80 in Atlanta. Well, I don't think she was that old, but she's a real nice lady. She wants to lease her home, and she wanted to get involved in the program for 202-504. So lots of great people. I've been trying to figure out how to connect you guys with all these landlords. Sometimes it's difficult. Any real housing assistance in the Bay Area? Look, man, San Francisco, you already know what the hustle is over there. Besides the absurdity of paying $3,000 to $5,000 for a broom closet, the best option we have over there, there's about 67 or 63 to 67 city programs, and we have the closest you're going to get to reality with that stuff in the Bay Area is going to be SRO. We all know what that is. When I was in SF, and that was over 20 years ago, I had an SRO, okay? And in those days, the rooms were actually pretty big. You know, some old hotels, they give you, it was 800, and of course, you're probably on GA, government assistance. I don't know if that program still exists, but there is opportunity in the Bay Area. But let me tell you something, you've got to be very sharp and very clever to get through the system over there. Because what they've created over there is like a giant clog of people. There's too many homeless people. And so the list is exasperated. And honestly, I'm surprised that San Francisco even has a strip of grass left. Moving on, Nessa. As a landlord, is there any incentive to having a property that has more luxuries than just the bare minimum? Absolutely. First of all, we can probably get you higher rent payments. So just for those to bring this context, this is the landlord asking me about amenities. The more amenities you have, the higher the rent payment we can get. Number two, if we can get an evaluation of the property from a professional. One thing about housing authorities, they publish one number and they say, okay, we're not paying, this is the list. We're only going to pay this much for a one bedroom. What most of you guys don't know as a landlord, we can negotiate that price. We can raise that rent every 6 months. We can also get incentives, which means 12 months sign-on leases. Desperate housing authorities have vouchers to give, but have no place for the clients to go. We can get you anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 to walk in with a 12-month lease. And there's about 15 other incentives. In other words, as a landlord, there's a lot of money I could get you. Well, I'm not going to say me. If you're in the right area, there's a lot of potential incentives we can negotiate with the housing authority to make it more than necessary. Now, back to amenities. I would say with amenities for clients, you don't want to do bare minimum, okay? And the reason why you don't want to do builder grade with all that, I would say going average grade with everything, not high end, will increase the amount of rent you could potentially charge. It's still affordable to the client, but it's not trash, you know? You're going to want to attract better Section 8 clients because we have two types of clients. You have the ones you hear the stories about tear everything up, and then you have good, decent people. Everybody that is on my channel, for instance, to come here, most of the people I know, most are 55 plus, most are good, decent people. They would die to have an opportunity to stay at your place, Nessa. So my advice with you is it would be well worth your time to book a consult. There's about 60 or 70 things I can enlighten you on that would really, really open the door for you, and especially when it comes to the incentive in and offering different amenities to your clients, it's worthwhile. And there's specific amenities we can target that definitely have an impact on payout. And so, yes, Ken R, or rent or to own a Bay Area. You would never, let me tell you something, if you're low income, you're never going to own a home in the Bay Area. Okay, so let go of that dream. You'll own a cardboard box, that's it. I'm being upfront and honest. You're not going to be able to buy anything out there. Normal people can't buy a house out there. So I don't know your situation, Ken, but if you're on a Section 8 channel and you're thinking about buying a house in San Francisco, you're either in the wrong channel, you suffer from mental disabilities, or that's just an honest question that you somehow are still considering it. Look, buying in San Francisco is easily $1.5 million. I don't know any place you're going to be able to get affordably. So let me tell you something, Kim. Also, if you can get over that Golden Gate Bridge, there are many counties surrounding us out the Bay Area that have very short waiting lists, and you would have a heck of a time. The reason why is the homeless have not figured out how to transverse the Golden Gate Bridge. So wherever the homeless can't get by on bus outside the Bay Area, those are the areas with shortest waiting lists. The reason all the homeless tend to encompass SL in the Bay Area is because they're giving out $400 to $500 GA checks. So if you, by the way, guys, if you don't know that, if you live in San Francisco and you're homeless, the city will give you a card with $500 every month for no other reason than just being homeless. That only happens 2 places in the country, LA, San Francisco. Now do you understand why every homeless person is jumping on the Greyhound and have been going to SF in the Bay Area for 20 years? And so that, and the fact that you can smoke crack, weed, meth, whatever it may be, in the middle of the street, 2 feet from a police officer in San Francisco, and they will not arrest you. Okay? For those of you not been to San Francisco, they actually have drug dens that are authorized. So you actually open the door, you go into the clinic, and they allow you to use your drugs legally. That's if you go in certain streets in San Francisco, it's illegal to walk down the sidewalk with nothing but your shoes on. I don't know if that's changed in 20 years, but yes, you can literally walk through the city of San Francisco completely naked, and there's no law against that, but it's on certain streets. So, hey guys, if you want to read something interesting, read up on the laws of San Francisco. It's quite a wild ride. And like I said, I used to live there. I love that city. I really do. Not for those reasons, but okay. So Daniel, thank you for hopping on. Daniel, by the way, Daniel has been a long time member. He is won the award for most comments ever. He keeps me busy every day with comments, but I do enjoy Daniel and his cats. Big Papa's has been resting. So for those of you who don't know, I've got a cat that weighs about 35 pounds. No, it's not an obese cat. It's a Maine Coons. The cat's naturally big, okay? So I'm not abusing my cats. And another interesting fact for you guys, I have 21 cats I've saved, all of which still visit me, and all that I treat very well. So let's move on to some other good questions. Hello, will my Section 8 be a, let's see, Section 8 from Ventura be an apartment in Orange County? Will that be a problem? So it sounds like you want to port from Ventura into Orange. I would say that you're making a terrible mistake by porting yourself into Orange. I think that's a critical mistake. But I don't know the whole situation, Mr. Bryant. To be frank with you, that is an ideal reason to consult with me, because there are a lot of ways that could end up going badly. Not only could you lose the voucher where you currently are, you could get into Orange and they could deny you and you would have no housing whatsoever. Okay, it's a dangerous game to play right now, especially in Cali. So honestly, I would say a consult on that. Take a sip of coffee. How much time have we been on here? I know I've been rattling for a while. 1 hour. Okay. Jesus. I don't know how you guys get me suckered into this. I guess I like the sound of my voice. Is there a way to, so Rena, is there a way to schedule outside of your regular time? You know, I've got people, here's the deal. I own Section8Consulting.com. I own this channel. In addition to that, I work hours to consult with people. Those of you who know me know that I do this because I love and care about you guys. Otherwise, I wouldn't do 4 consults a day. I would do 20 and see how much money I could hoard. I don't do that. I only charge money per consult simply because it's necessary as a, because it's necessary. I mean, in 14 years doing it for free. So my point is simply this, guys. I know you guys want appointments past noon, okay? But I own e-commerce stores plus these other 3 businesses. I'm already working minimum 12, sometimes 18, 19 hours a day. And I've been doing so since January. So as much as I love to do it, the only way y'all are going to convince me to have an appointment at 8, 9 o'clock at night is if you're paying about $60 or $70. That's what it'd be worth for me to stop in the middle of everything I'm doing to have that appointment like that. So no. Now, look, guys, I do open it up on Sundays. So for those of you that want a day in which would it be reasonable to reach me, it'd still be a morning appointment, but sometimes you can catch me on a Sunday. Sorry, I got to take a sip of coffee. Now, look, guys, we'll get along famously. If you love dogs and cats, look, I do a lot of that in these videos, okay? Oh, by the way, I wanted to show y'all something. So I've been speaking about this e-commerce. This is one of the things I'll be selling. Not to y'all, but I just wanted to show you. What a beauty, isn't it? It's amethyst. It's not for everybody, but I like gems and minerals and stuff like that. So I just thought I'd bring in a little bit of personal. But that's some of the stuff I'll be carrying at some of my online stores. Amazon, I'll be registered with Walmart, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, and all that. I've got quite an inventory, about 30,000 so far. And I'm not sold a thing yet because I haven't listed any because I'm too busy with y'all. But anyways, moving back. Yeah, I am a cat person, and it plays an important part in all my videos. And even my members tend to put cats and footprints in almost every comment. We'll see if I can summon a cat. Pops. Papa. Well, any other time that would be up climbing up my leg, you know, considering how many. Oh, we got a winner. Cupcake. Hello to the camera, Pops. I call my cats Papas. You have to be careful with this one because he will get you. So the cat treats still work, and I'll see if I move my chair. Papa, don't you pee on nothing now. We're not doing that today. Go. So this is Cupcake. He was a rescue from a family that thought he was a play toy, and they treated him basically as a situation when you move out, and they just basically got rid of him like he was a $2 piece of trash from a dollar store. When you train an animal to be part of your household and you give order in your food, you take away its ability to understand how to take care of itself. Then you kick it out on the street in the middle of a winter or a summer because you're a piece of trash. Okay? Because you're an absolute piece of trash. You probably do your children that way. And then I end up having people like me have to go ahead and rescue these cats. And I rescue dogs because I care. So these animals are devastated. They don't know where to get water or food because you've taught them to be handicapped by you because you thought you got an interesting little toy. Then you throw it out when you can no longer afford it. And so it upsets me. But you can see if I care that much about cats, I care that much about all of y'all, those that are disabled and seniors, even you young folks, man, that are struggling. I've got kids, man, that are going to college. They're living in a homeless shelter and still manage to hold down a little job, plus go to school, and I do nothing but admire that. That is the type of person I'm willing to go over the top to help. I've got seniors that are rotting, like I said many times, in shelters. These are the people I'm trying to drag from the straight stretches of hell and get them a place where they can die with a little bit of fucking dignity. Because the people that run the housing authority don't care whether you die in a pool of your own excrement or not. They just don't care. So somebody out here's got to care, and that's what I'm attempting to do. I'm trying to help all of y'all so when you do get old, that you have something to lean on and some good advice. Not some child on YouTube that thinks he knows what Section 8 is, okay? That he's going to tell you the 3 steps to fix your life. These people are clowns on YouTube, and it upsets me that they're giving out terrible advice, but it is what it is. So anyways, guys, if you got questions, please hit me up. I'm happy to help. Eddie, hey, I got my homeless caseworker trying to commit me to a psych program. Well, the interesting thing there, Eddie, is if that's for the right reason, one thing that's interesting there is if you do get inpatient therapy, one of the things afforded to you by state and county programs is if they put you in and commit you, it forces them in the position to have to house you. In order to house you, the county program must contact the housing authority, and the housing authority must find suitable arrangements for your housing. So you may have found one of the very few loopholes that would force the city into a position where they literally have to get you a voucher before kicking you out the front door, okay? Now, what I'm not telling you is they're going to get you a Section 8 11 voucher. They may get you a COC voucher, whatever it may be, but what I'm saying is that can play to your benefit. Now, if they're going to house you or commit you to a psychiatric program that is not county or state run, then you're not going to get much out of that other than they kick you out the front door with your suitcase. So I would say be careful on what your worker's trying to do for you. Another thing I'm telling you is most of these people at homeless shelters that are caseworkers, look, they just got their education out of a bubblegum machine. Most of them have no idea. Outside of actually putting your name, phone number, address, and a few criteria, most of them have no manuals. They've never had any formal training in this area. They're great at emotionally making you feel better, but they sure as shit don't know what I know. And so a lot of times they end up doing more damage to the people they're trying to help than they actually do helping, okay? That's the thing about caseworkers. They're great at organizing and figuring out. They create a little sheet of paper. Well, here's all the places you can call. Well, who the hell needs that? Who wants to spend their whole day beating their flip-flops with a fucking list that hasn't been updated in 4 years? Who wants to deal with a caseworker that hasn't cared about their job in years because she hates all her clients, she hates her job? So a lot of these people just don't care. And another thing about that is, I'm not saying all of them. Some of them do care. If you get a fresh one out of college that just started there, if they manage to make it 3 months at that shelter, then you might actually get a little action and that might help you. So I don't know. So I don't want to disappoint you. But it's important you have realistic expectations. Look, I've got homeless shelters. I can think of 3, and I cannot disclose who they are, their names, but they actively dump their caseloads on me. So they get 20, 30 clients, and rather than hire somebody like these people that don't care, they'll contact me, they'll pay me, and I work with those clients to get them housing, okay? So if you don't think for a minute the caseworkers, nonprofits, don't hire me, dump entire caseloads on me, and make it my problem rather than theirs, you're wrong. So it points out that there's not enough formal education behind the stuff, and even the people that run nonprofits don't barely understand how it works. So, just being honest, I'm being upfront. If you don't believe me, I'll be happy to publish a list. Moving on. Queen of Hearts. Here we are in Virginia. We can't reach anyone in the HUD office, and they are not open to the public. How can I get Section 8 or any other help with housing? Sometimes you have to compel these housing authorities on a federal level. And one thing that extensively now this is a new game they can play. Now they can take the phone, open up the bathroom door, and throw it in the toilet. They no longer need to answer the phone. Why? Because it's a pandemic. They lock the key, they snap it off. Nobody can ever walk in the building. Why? Because you might breathe on them. So now they're able to take and get all that cash, direct deposit, and then turn off the fucking light bulbs and go home. You see now how the housing authority operates? Like, collect cash, close the doors, unplug the phone, and fuck it. We'll be open in 10 years. You see how that game works? So how you deal with housing authorities is this. When they don't want to cooperate, we take it, we get a report filed with actual DC office or regional, and then we make them accountable. If you don't want to earn your paycheck, and you're working at the housing authority, and you mess with me, then you're going to be earning it that day. Why? Because I'm going to bring you as close to homeless and jobless as I can, and you will eventually comply. We'll roll through every federal regulation, and trust me, you'll come into compliance, or it'll end so badly for you, you'll end up just having to find a new job at Taco Bell. I'm serious. You're either going to respect federal regulation and the people that are there for these programs. Look, the government's giving you the money. It is not your money. So I'm calling out every housing authority in America. If you're not going to use the funds that the government's giving you, then you'll be held accountable. That's as simple as it's going to get for y'all. And let me tell you something. I've got a lady today I just talked to. Same problem. You got a housing authority that's doing whatever the hell it wants. It thinks it's 1930 again. Look, this stuff about being biased and racist, why in the hell would you want to work at the housing authority if you're racist? What Kool-Aid are you drinking? Why would you go out there and pick a job where you know you're dealing with people that are desperate, that are old? Why would you do that if you absolutely hate life and hate people you work with? Why do that? Because it comes down to one thing. It's time for you to go. So, anyways, Sylvan Bryant's so cute. Well, I'll take that in a good way, Brian. I don't know if you're flirting with me or if you're trying to make a cynical joke. That's all right. I let shit roll off my back all the time. All right, moving on. I just picked out a strawberry quartz. Christina, we'll get along famously. I love quartz, and the big problem I have with this new store I'm open, I'm going to get some of these big cathedrals to sell it. So I've got AAA amethyst coming from Ukraine and also Brazil. I think you'll like that stuff. But again, I'm going to try to stay focused on the Section 8 part of this. Jade, you are so brutal. Yes, you know what? Let me give you a little preaching real quick. If I only came across as a guy in a blue shirt and came off as a professional, then I would only appeal to 3% of my clientele. If you can't talk hood, if you can't talk street, if you can't talk like a prostitute, if you can't talk like a former alcoholic, if you can't talk like a professional, if you can't talk to a person schizophrenic, then you're absolutely fucking useless doing this job. I have to be able to adapt, match the plot and course of every type of personality. Otherwise, I'm useless, and I'm going to end up being the ones that's prejudiced. Oh, well, I won't deal with no crazy people. Oh, I won't deal with no Mexican people. You see my point? If you're going to do my job, then you need to be prepared to deal with everybody. And if you don't have a heart, don't fucking bother, okay? So, yeah, you're right. I am brutal, and I think people need to hear it the right way. And as I was telling another lady earlier, look, you know what? I cannot think of a better way to express the emotion, the intensity of how I feel for y'all, better than using expletives. I think it actually matches perfectly the actual emotion that I do feel for y'all. For me to sit here and make it have a lighthearted conversation about a serious topic and not use profanities makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't think anything is achieved by pleasantries. If you want pleasantries, go to church. Okay? If you want housing vouchers, then you need to come see me. Okay? And by the way, I don't sell them, so don't start that stuff about I'm doing something illegal. I'm not. All right, moving on. Professor Cupcake. I hope you and the cats are doing cool. Well, Professor Cupcake's been a minute. I appreciate you coming back and visit. Looks like some of you guys are getting your comments blocked. So I don't know if y'all cursing me or y'all saying bad things. I got to warn you that you don't want to use too many comments using specific words on YouTube. Otherwise, they will block you permanently. Not just from my channel, they'll block you, period, on YouTube. So just watch yourself with that. You need to call Broward County Housing. They are so effed up. Oh, okay, I know why I blocked you. I believe that with Broward. I also believe in Orange County, the Bronx, and many other places out in New York, and even small counties. Rena Hall, all I want to do is thank you for the info. Be willing to try to get some information. Browsing. So we're going to cover the that part. Again, and this is, if y'all check some of the earlier links, I want to try to give it to y'all again. Quick, if I can find it. Because I know some of you guys are joining us late, and so you're going to want the information. Nobody wants to hear somebody run their lips for an hour, so I get that. Some of y'all just joining, so let me give you the core of the information, because some people don't have time to sit here and just hear me rattle on. I get that. So I always try to give you as much as I can, as quick as I can. So I'm going to give you Title 24, folks, okay? This is a good starter for you. If you know what Title 24 is, here it is. You need to read up, guys. If you want to play legal games, you want to play mind games in the Housing Authority, you need to know Title 24, okay? You need to sit down and read that. If you want to make housing authorities compliant and comply, and if you ever want to hear a phone line go fucking dead, learn Title 24. Where they talk shit, I come back with federal law. You know what the phone line does? It goes completely fucking dead. There's no competing. Lip service is done. Next up, we're going to give you this other one real quick. These are all the programs. It's the shopping list, 138. Now, not everyone's going to be applicable to you guys, all right? I want you to take a look, and this is a good way for you to pick out some programs that would be useful. If you know if you know what street you're driving on, then you know where you need to get for a voucher. Take a look at that. It's going to take you time. It's 116 pages, pure glory. Another thing I'm going to give you guys today, we're going to do HCV. I'm going to give you the entire actual manual for that. It's 475 pages. Look, if you buy a Monopoly game, why would you want the short list to give the people that are playing the game? Why not give you the instructor's manual? If you got the manual the instructor has, what does that mean? It means you know both the questions, the answers, and how to get past it. So let me give you that. That'll be the next link. Give me a minute. Now, this manual has been constantly updated for now 21 years, and I've held on to it. And these idiots have yet still not figured out I've got a link to it. And so what's lovely about it is it just keeps updating year after year after year. So that's nice. Every policy and procedure are published in respects to the overall program. These are not actual housing authority manuals. This is HUD's manual. So that would be Title 7420.10G. And then Dan and McKay make all this subcontract, makes actual housing authority manuals. Those I have thousands of. So it's a lot. For me to teach one single person what I know, we would need at least 10 to 15 years, to be frank with you guys. So you want meat and potatoes, there it is. Compare that and go see some other videos on YouTube. You're going to get stunned. I got to tell people, if I can't help you get what you need, then nobody can. Okay? Even if you had a housing authority employee, you personally knew them, okay? They're only of use to you for that housing authority. Since I've dealt with hundreds of housing authorities, it's like hiring me is like hiring 1,000 different HUD employees and have them all in your pocket at one time. I don't just know what I know for one little shitty county. I know it nationwide. I've spent 20 years doing it. You see the differences? So when you get somebody that makes a YouTube video, oh, well, I'm the former employee of such and such county. Well, that's great, man. You went and got your housing authority specialist license for $1,000. I passed that, blew right past one of those years ago. But Miss May there only knows what's applicable for her little county. So she's useless. Useless. If you don't live in her zip code, that woman's useless. So knowing a housing authority employee means nothing. Don't mean jack. Taking advice from a housing authority employee on YouTube don't mean anything unless you live in their town. Talking with me is dealing with so many counties. That's what matters. Yeah, if you don't have all of this, then you've got nothing. So, anyways, guys, we're getting to that point where my voice is starting to wane. I think we talked a lot. I think we've expressed some deep emotion. I think, we've used plenty of profanities. I think I've made my point that this is important. I think these using those words match the plot, of course, how serious things really are for us. For you guys, this is about housing. This is the second most important thing in your life. Your life is the most valuable thing you have. Okay, that and those loved ones and your children and your pets and your animals. That's number one. Number two is where you live, and number three is how you get around your ride. Okay, so I take that responsibility very seriously. I don't go around charging people $40, $50, okay, for a console and deceive a bunch of seniors because I'm greedy. I've been doing this for 6 years on YouTube, 20 in total, and I have backed every single word I've said to you folks on every video. You go through the entire YouTube channel, look at all those comments. Man, if this is a Ponzi scheme, I got to tell you, it's the longest running one ever to ever survive. How would I own Section8Consulting.com? So anyways, proof is in what it is. But I want to tell you, guys, with anything, a lot of what I do and what I've learned is just learning. It's what it is. It's a process of learning. And I'm summarizing something much bigger to help you get where you need to go. Nobody needs to hire me. All the information is technically out there if you have the time. So I'm not here to solicit that. And as most of you know, I do 4 appointments a day. I'm not going to ever get rich off this stuff, and I'm certainly not trying to be a Hollywood star. I'm here to help people that need help, okay? And I do it all the time. Moving on, let's look at some more questions. I meant brutally. Okay, well, I'm good with that. Hey, Jay, I will be consulting with you soon. Okay, Edmund Seville, I look forward to it. I look forward, a lot of you guys are seniors, you're waiting for your Social Security checks to come in. Some of you are going to book appointments now. Let me tell you something, guys. I don't stick to 20 minutes. A lot of you guys, I talk for well over an hour. I talked to a gentleman today, an older senior. I think he's 62, and he paid 20 minutes. We talked for an hour and a half, okay? It's not about money. It's not about money, guys. It's not about money. It's not about my time. It's about making sure you have what you need. You get one shot at this once a year, and you need to get it right. And so I just want to impress on you guys. Look, I'm not here for the pleasure of the housing authority. I'm here to fight for you. I'm here to make sure you get it right the first time, so you don't have to suffer through this. This is a pandemic. Things are bad. And as most of you know, the last moratorium that's going to be issued just got issued, and when it expires, we're going to see another tidal wave of about over 10 million get evicted. About probably 100,000 people that used to have a voucher are going to lose it. And so a lot of new vouchers will be flooding into the market. It's a great time for you to get placed. So I do things because I do care. And that's always been what's important to me, is just getting this information out. I have $100 in my pocket. I can't afford to pay rent for 2 months now. Paul, we need to get you with Rapid Rehousing. They'll pay your deposits, your fees, your move-in, and your deposit, okay? Now, the thing about it is, Paul, before I go and talk a bunch of tall stuff, we still have to make sure you meet the program rules. If you don't know what the rules are, as I've always preached, don't play the game unless you can beat it, okay? So there are specific things they're looking for. If you don't have them, they don't want to give it to you. I already know what the specific things are, so it just comes down to whether or not you're willing to give those answers. So my advice with you guys, if you don't know the right answer, just book the consult. I cannot. A lot of you guys are asking me, hey, man, how do I get a voucher? And how do I answer that easily in the comments section of a video? There's no way to do that. I don't even know where the hell you live, how old you are, or nothing. You guys have to book the consult. That's the only thing I can tell you there. It's too much. I get 500 emails a day. So if I never took a shower, never ate again, and rolled 24 hours a day, I would be dead in about 90 days, but I would achieve at least addressing 3% of the emails I get. I know that some of you guys do not care if I ever eat, take a shower, or do anything again. I do get that. Some people are very self-centered. I'm not suggesting any of all that, but I'm just saying that if I, in principle, gave everybody what they wanted from comments and emails, then I would have died already, and then it would be no use. All this would have been in vain. Moving on. Christian, it can be. Christina, thank you. I enjoyed the information. I've enjoyed having you, Ms. Brown. Guys, I think we're going to start wrapping up because I feel like I'm rambling. And besides that, I don't think we covered as much as I'd like to. But I'll tell you what, I've given you all a great deal to consider. I've given you 3 massive manuals, manuals that housing authorities and other social organizations would highly prefer you didn't have your hands on. how it would feel to be able to fight back and actually have a playbook where you can actually do damage, where you can actually go back and say, you know what, I don't have to take the shit you're telling me. I know what the regulations are. I've got the manual. Today is your last day fucking with people, this housing authority. That's the kind of power I'm trying to give you guys, is the ability to truly understand these programs. You have a right, and the day you were born in America, the day you worked and you paid your taxes one time, entitles you to the same rights and privileges. You do not need to be rich. You do not need to be white. You only need to be an American that's worked and contributed to society. That's only two requirements here to be able to benefit from the full privileges of being part of America and utilizing the system. And you should not be ashamed. I know some of you have never asked for anything in your life. You should never be ashamed to work your whole damn life. You work, you pay taxes out the paycheck. You go to the store, you buy a gallon of milk, you pay taxes a second time. Then you get on the street and you pay street taxes. Then when you're done with the milk, you pay for that, no tax again. You're taxed 20 times for the same fucking dollar, okay? And so for you to be ashamed to utilize the Section 8 is absurd. For those of you that are older, that are on a fixed income, you should never be ashamed of a system that you paid into for 60, 70 years and be ashamed to ask for a few dollars back. This is exactly what these programs are for. At some point, the government cash machine has to pay back. That is the point, isn't it? So if you worked all your life, you have nothing to be ashamed of, and nor should you be. And so I'm fully prepared to go to bat with you. And if it means getting somebody at the housing authority they just hired off of Craigslist, you're paying $3 an hour to get them to fucking comply, then that's what we'll do. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be treated like trash by your own city government. And that's the people that are working at the housing authority. They are owned, operated, and run by the city. Nobody gave them a special license to treat you like trash, to subjugate or put you in servitude in some hood housing with drug addicts and prostitutes, okay? Everybody, regardless of color and age, deserves to be treated as A, a human, and B, have fair housing. It's not fair when you've got trash running a rigged system with a fake lottery and other things that go on with this stuff. Now, I'm not suggesting any type of theories or unethical stuff. I'm just saying that it is a highly imbalanced system. It is unfair. And the only way to make this fair is to unrig it, okay? That's what I do. You might as well call me the Section 8 unrigger, because that's what I really, really do. I unrig the system. I make it easier to get through it. And then we eventually get to the point where we get you what you need. If I don't get it, that's fine. I publish it on my website. It's easily, you go to section8consulting.com. It will tell you that I'm one of the very few people that actually post their failure rate. That tells you a lot about who I am. If I'm willing to post my failure rate and tell you that I'm more successful 93% of the time, then I'm a lot more honest than half the people out here consulting that would prefer you believe they're good at everything and they need more money. That's what all these consultants do. They need $1,200, $1,500. They'll never post your unsuccess rate. Okay, at least I'm honest. At least I tell you, all right, this is what we've got. We're going to give it our best shot. And sometimes things do fail, okay? Who do you call if you have a complaint about HUD? Well, you call HUD. But to be more specific, Dinya, it depends on the type of complaint. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you why you don't just want to call HUD in DC. First of all, if you don't have a well-prepared case to do so, then you're nothing but an irritant to them. In other words, you're a speck in their eye or a rock in their shoe. If you can't back your conversation with federal regulation of an actual violation, you're just another file 13 person calling them that's just crying about everything. 40% of people that own vouchers have mental illness, and a lot of them are paranoid and report crazy shit to HUD. So you can understand why they're desensitized. If you really want to file a report, I'm telling you, book a consult with me. We can back it with federal Title 24. We can back it with federal regulation, and they will take your shit very seriously. Otherwise, you're in a stack of other crazy-ass people that have made all kinds of wild claims, and they generally don't take this stuff seriously. So it just goes nowhere, okay? So do you need me? No. You could actually learn Title 24 and federal regulation. It would take you a few months to read it all and interpret it, but you would get there. Thing is, if it's serious, it means a lot to you. Look, if you've been treated badly, you need retribution, then go, for God's sake, go get it. Okay? Nobody says you got to lay down taking anything. That's the one thing I had to tell you people. You guys are letting these people walk all over you. You're letting them run you, and you're letting them walk scot-free. If they don't want to comply, then what's wrong with retribution? We'll simply repay the same shit they put to you. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not telling anybody to break the law. But if you're going to play the game, then maybe retribution shouldn't be. You know what? It's like my grandfather used to tell me, don't dish it, honey buns. If you can't take what you dish, then don't play the game. If these housing authority people have been running around this game for so long, they dishing it, but they can't handle taking it, they about to have a real bad day after I get through with them. Okay, so don't dish the turkey, baby, if you can't handle it. I'm just gonna put it that way. So I'm in Texas. Oh, so Angelina, I'm in Texas on that list. Well, I'm glad to hear it, Angelina. I hope you have a lot of success with that. I don't know what part of Texas you're in, but Dallas. Places like Dallas, Denton, Harris County, Houston, and all that, this list can be quite extensive. This is the first I've heard of so much of this. I have truly thank you for revealing such crucial information, how to navigate through. You need a book. Emily, I appreciate you saying that. You know, guys, these are not secrets. A lot of this stuff is just a lot of time and effort put into this, because I wanted a crystal clear answer from a lot of this stuff. It's the only way for us to be able to get through this is to truly understand what's happening. Okay, if you want the best options, then that's what we've got to do. Otherwise, you'll have to go date some housing authority employee, and nobody wants to be a prostitute to the housing authority. And that's how a lot of this shit plays out. People that don't need vouchers get them, and those that need them wait 15 years. No, I don't think so. We're not going to play that game. I tell you what, if they have to issue one honest voucher that year, you can damn well better be sure that it's going to be me included in that deal, getting that, because I just, I don't even know how did we get this way? How did 40 years pass? We went from an honest program to corrupt, racist, prejudice, all kinds of shit going on. We've made it up convoluted rules that no normal human could ever match. And then we've made the list impossible to even get on. We've made some bizarre ass fucking rules that nobody could ever actually humanly meet unless they consulted with me. I'm good at actually meeting all bizarre things. So if they require one ear, two eyeballs, a missing toe, plus you got, you're senile and you just turned 38, and that happens to be the applicable rule to get the highest number, then I'll damn well make sure you match it. Okay. Like I said, I can match the course and the plot of all the bullshit that they can deliver in their manuals. And once I read their manuals, we're good to go. That is the true game. So, Carol Monroe, Title 24. You're correct. That's a good reading. It'll help you. Okay, that's how you fight fire with fire. Understanding the rules of which you're playing by. Don't be the only person in the sandbox not understanding how these things work. Ashley Williams, I got a COC, but it's only for 20 months. I tell you what, that is the highest range I've heard, because it actually maxes out at 24 for Continual Care, better known as coordinated entry. Also better known under the federal housing program as Housing First. Anyways, moving on. Can I transition to something permanent before the 20 months expire? Yes, you can. We need to get you in subsidized. We need to get you in subsidized. We need to get you in TBA. Don't ask me about project housing. I'm not sending anybody straight to hell. I don't do project-based housing. Anybody you're considering that, please don't call me. That's the shit. If I wanted y'all to go live in a county jail, that's what that is. So we'll do TBAs. There's lots of options there. So I don't know how much time you got left. My advice there, really seriously about that, if you want your best shot in those 20 months, book a consult. Okay, we'll work through it. We'll have one conversation. Trust me, most of these people in this channel, the reason they're here, the reason they're doing well, the reason they have a home and light bulbs on is because half these people consulted with me, and all of them have vouchers. Almost every case. Okay, guys, I'm going to get close to this wrap-up point because my voice is really starting to give out, and we've had a wild ride today for this video. So, by the way, I'm in the Bay Area. Okay, well, you know what? We got to get you. First of all, the Bay Area is going to present many big challenges. You're probably in the SRO. If you're in the SF or the Bay Area, probably have to. I just noticed a comment here. Justice for Savannah. Hey, Justice, how are you doing? So when you're speaking of greed, in what context were you speaking? If you don't mind, let us know. So the Bay Area, we would have to review possibly getting you to some other counties. Hey, Wynette, I'm glad you showed Miss Landers here. She's another longtime client, and I believe her daughter is as well. There's so many of you that are regulars on my channel. It's crazy. I think the new people are going to think I'm buying views or something. Yeah, well, the thing about it is hard to monitor. The problem we have is when the feds, when HUD created the program, they just cut checks. Those checks run down to the city. The city does a great job of not wanting to spend money. So the housing authority is owned by the city. The city employees, we all know, if they're making the street, they make $90 an hour. But for some reason, we're only paying housing authority employees nickels and dimes. So what we're getting is horrendous trash working there. Trashiest kind of people that you could possibly get. So they're haters, essentially. They're the type of people that a lot of them just are miserable people. I don't understand why they're doing vouchers. I wish I had a really good explanation as to why we have a epidemic of terrible, monstrous people working at housing authorities. And again, I want to express to the housing authority employees that watch my channel, I'm not speaking of every housing authority. I have nothing but unicorns and pretty things to say about places like Seattle, Oregon, plenty of states that I'm very proud to represent of housing authorities working ethically. There's a lot of states that I can't say the same about. So, Angela Franklin, my lease is ending 5 months, then I have nowhere to go. Angela, you need to get in contact with me because, first of all, we can get you housing 35 days. So 5 months is way more than I would need to get you somewhere, okay? Some of you guys are worried about the wrong thing. What I mean to bring that in context is I don't think a lot of you understand. This is the thing. Y'all, at 6 months from being put on the street, think you got an emergency. An emergency is when you call me 3 days from it, okay? If you call me in under 35, you got 30 days, 5 days from the street, that's when shit gets real. Now, if you're 5 and 6 months out, we start now. We can move you from one lease to the next. It's not a problem, okay? You're only really pressing me hard when you do this and you've got days or weeks left. That's when it gets bad for me because then you're forcing me in a position to work quickly. I got locked out of my phone this weekend. I will be setting appointments with you good. Cool deal, Justice. I'm glad to see you back on here. I've been worried about you, girl. So I think we're going to wrap this up, guys. I think right now the whole chat lobby is full of people that I know. And most of you know pretty much my video. I was hoping to have more new people here. So, here's my deal, guys. I don't need y'all to book consults, okay? I don't need y'all's money. I have 3 separate businesses. I do this because I enjoy it. It is pertinent that I do make money for my time. So I cannot do these things for free, obviously. That is why I charge. So we have tire kickers, or we have people that are here that think that I'm doing this out of greed. Man, I got to tell you, the last 6 years were rough when I did it for free. The last 14 years were rough when I didn't do it. When I did it for free. I'm only here because I care, okay? I only do 4 consults a day. That's what I have time to do, and that's all that I do. And when I work with people, I work with you to the end. Now, some of you have interpreted working to the end as meaning that you can call and text every day, all day, and that the $45 means that you can hold me in servitude for the next 38 years. Every time you get kicked out of the unit, that you should be able to call. What I do with lunatics like that is I have to refer you down to mental health. Still love you. However, I won't be able to help you to consult you, okay? So I'm going to let you know I've had some cases like that, where they had a lot of loose screws. I get that. I don't, I believe in people that do have mental health problems, okay? I'm never going to just be prejudiced and only deal with certain types of people. No, I'm prepared fully to deal with everybody. As long as you have your faculties together and you're still connected to reality, I will still be an honor to serve you, okay? So I don't operate that way. And that's important because we all have to realize we're just human, okay? And it's really, really important we all treat each other decently when we can. Moving on. Can I get a Sunday appointment? I'm going to open up Sunday appointments Friday, okay? Because that goes so quick, you'd think I was selling candy canes. You guys rip through my Sundays like there's no tomorrow. I open that thing up for 30 minutes, y'all slam. I'll try to book 9 different consults. Look, I'm not going to spend all day on that phone on a Sunday, okay? I'll book 4. So you have to be ready on Fridays when I open it up and then book it, all right? Justin Persana, thank you. I'm here as well. Okay, cool. Ashley Williams, Jay is A1. Y'all know you want to share it with them all? Yeah, okay. Good deal, Ashley. I appreciate that. Carolyn Monroe, how long should I book for? Carol, you know what I would suggest on that? Let's see what we can do in 20 minutes, okay? A lot of time I do just keep going, okay? Nothing unusual for me to roll and sit there and rattle on for an hour to get your whole case solved. So people have limited money right now, so I don't want anybody booking 40 minutes or an hour, okay? It's a lot of time. I work very hard, talk quick to get y'all through what you need. And I work with a lot of you by email afterwards, so I don't want a lot of you guys blowing money when you need it for rent and food and things like that, okay? If you can honestly afford my services after first consult, or you honestly believe you need 40 minutes from me, then book it, okay? But I don't want to ever think that your case is hinged on your ability to pay me. That is not true about me, and it never will be. I do genuinely care, okay? I absolutely do. Let's take a look. Queen of Hearts, can you put your website? Let me do that right now. Y'all want to see the website? You know what? I spent a lot of money on this website, and I hope y'all like it. Let's see, www.section8 consulting. Let's see if I got that right, guys. Should be clickable, I believe. I'm going to try it right now. So if you don't notice in the chat comment right now, y'all can copy paste that or click it if it allows you. So that's my website. And the lovely part is I spent a good chunk of money on this. I had a guy help me out with this. We rank number 1 for Section 8 consulting. We also rank number 1 for Section 8 consultant. They're not hugely search words, but the point is we're pushing down these bad companies that are charging people outrageous amounts of money for advice. A lot of these companies I see on Google that do consulting work don't know shit. They don't know what I know. They don't even come close. It's actually pretty sad. I call a few of them, and the phone line goes quiet about 20 times because they absolutely don't know anything. But yeah, they want to charge you guys $1,500, and there's no guarantee of anything. Another issue I have with some of these consulting services are just complete scams. They don't know shit. They've never read one piece of legislation in their life. They're operating. I don't know what the hell they're operating. It's almost as bad as a YouTube. So a lot of that's been pushed down. I got a guy who's been writing articles for me to correct a lot of the misinformation on Google. One of the big problems we have with Google is Google loves bullshit. The more convoluted the article, the worse it is, the higher it ranks it. You got, you put in how to get Section 8 housing fast. You should read that article. Ranks number 1. It is the most stupid advice I've ever seen in my life, and it ranks number 1. So people go to Google for answers. It works great for most things. But if you're looking for advice about Section 8 or housing vouchers and all that on Google, good luck. It's going to give you an article that was published 20 years ago from some idiot working at some news agency that spent about 3 minutes researching, and it's just complete garbage. It'll never get you anywhere. I read the first page of Google, everything connected with Section 8, all bullshit. Here's another interesting fact, guys. HUD.gov, owned by the government. Besides the new articles they put on their front page, a lot of the information on their website's not been updated in nearly 8 or 9 years. I sit there and argued with a woman. I ended up having to hang up on her. I occasionally get know-it-alls. They hire me to hear their self-talk. So she hires me, and she comes off pretty intelligent, talking with her. Oh, well, I think you're wrong because it says this on Section 8, gov, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, lady, you know what? The last time that they hired a teenager out of high school to update the shit on their website was about 10 years ago. But she was going to preach about it. Then I try to tell her about Title 24. She rebuffs that. So it turns into this big argument. I just hang up on her ass. I don't have time for people like that. And so there you go. She earned herself a voucher to the sidewalk because she just burned the only person that likely knew how to get her a voucher, and she burned it up being stupid. That's just reality. Stupid. Sit there and pick a fight with the one guy in the nation that's trying to help her. She paid me to pick a fight. You see the lunacy I deal with on the phone. Okay? I'm trying to push her. Let's get the voucher done. Let's get your information right. And what do? We de-evolve into, I don't know what I'm supposed to be talking about, and I have to hang up on her. So anyways, craziness. All right, guys, I've enjoyed talking to you. We're just rambling. Now we've left Earth with this. We're talking about cats and dogs, arguments, and we're talking shit about housing authorities. which I immensely enjoy. It's like a Christmas gift. But tonight I need to move on. I've got other things I've got to do. So I got to tell you, I've enjoyed talking with all of y'all. I hope, in principle, y'all are able to use the links that I've given you to Title 24, also federal regulation code. And then you got another lovely, your 1428. That's another 475 pages you can read. Look, eventually I'll arm y'all with enough knives, kitchen knives, and spears where you'll be able to fight the housing authority on your own. That's the point, isn't it? To be able to be well armed and to be able to understand what your true rights are. And we're doing all this craziness to do one simple thing: get housing. All of this became necessary because we've convoluted housing. Huh? You remember there used to be a day and time when you went to the housing authority, you got a voucher. It's not like that anymore, folks. All right, guys. I've enjoyed talking to y'all. We'll try another video another day. And next time we're going to talk about home ownership. And I expect the channel will likely be very full on that one because I'm going to target every known housing program that would allow you to purchase a home, including loans. And we will step cautiously through that because I cannot give advice. I can only state the obvious verbatim, but I think that would be useful because you guys need to step out of vouchers and you need to start thinking about your future, about home ownership. And I don't give a damn if you're 87, okay? Every age, anytime you own something, it's better. It's better to pay a mortgage than it is to pay rent, okay? When you own it, it's yours. All right, guys, I've enjoyed talking with y'all, and if you know somebody in need that's homeless, that's hurting, that's elderly, that's senile, whatever it may be, step out, try to help them folks, okay? It's not about referring them to me. It's about having a little bit of humanity, and for once in your fucking life, do something to help another human, okay? If you got friends and relatives, you got people suffering from alcoholism, from drugs, whatever it may be, they're out on that street, help them figure out how to do this. I give you a lot of information about this stuff. Help them. If you don't help the next human being, who the hell is? If the people in charge of helping you aren't trying to help you, the housing authority isn't doing anything, then who the hell is going to do something for the people on the street? Okay? Use this advice. Go out and help somebody, okay? You'll feel a lot better about who you are, and when you take your last breath in this life, you won't regret. You will leave this earth with no regrets, okay? That is so important. You don't just get what you need out of me, a house, at least. Go do something where you can leave this earth, take your last breath, and that it should be an honor and a privilege that you served. That way you can be served when you leave here, okay? That's so important that you remember the part of humanity. If we forget who we are and we start viewing people as trash and homeless people, drug addicts, and she's white, she's Mexican, we've gotten so far from wanting to help each other and to house each other. And, oh, well, she's a Republican, so when she can't have a voucher, she's stupid, or he's a Democrat. We've forgotten, okay? People need housing. I don't give a damn who you are, what your political motivations are. We just got to get back to the basics again and quit doing what we're doing, okay? So anyways, that's all the conjecture I've got. We'll see if YouTube wants to take this one down. Hopefully not. So, all right, that's been a pleasure and an honor, and I look forward to those of you that want to consult. And for those of you that want to book the Sunday appointment, that will be available starting as 9 a.m. Friday. Please don't go bananas because I don't want to be on the phone for 12 straight hours, okay? So if you really need the Sunday appointment, please book it. Please don't be greedy, all right? Y'all have a good one.